The World Wrestling Federation. For over 50 years, the revolutionary force in sports entertainment.
Well, men on the are you ready? Well, here we go. Here we go.
Welcome to the New Generation Mission podcast on the Backbone Wrestling Network. I'm Tim Slomka.
I'm JP.
Thanks for joining us again. As always, you're on the journey to relive the New Generation era, to find the best and some of the worst of a time period, wrestling time period often forgotten. Bret and Shawn Survivor Series 92 to Bret and Shawn Survivor Series 97. Look beyond the pay-per-views. Examine the weekly TV, see what worked, what could have worked, and what failed. JP, how is life?
Pretty good, man. It's
good.
In real time. It's Mania week, so it's always a big deal.
Yeah, I'm going to Vegas for my daughter's birthday. I'm gonna try to go to Mania maybe Sunday nights, but we're not sure. We haven't bought tickets. We haven't bought tickets yet. It's kind of gonna be a long weekend. We're doing fish. We're going to a fish show. It just might be enough that they're like, you know what, let's just go to the pool all day. So last minute decision. My kids have never been to Vegas, so we're just not sure how it's gonna work. And I'm like, I don't know if a 5-hour show is what we need in our lives. So we'll see. I have Raw in the background. It's the first Raw I've watched all year. Is Punk Roman the Sunday main event? Sunday, yeah. So that'd be cool.
Oh,
To see, but it's pretty. Again, my kids don't really follow that much. My son does a little bit, but he doesn't know. He thinks Undertaker's fighting. So, so that shows you where he is in his fandom. So we'll see. My wife's like, you know what? It'd be cool to go, and Punk being from Chicago, they would like. But again, like a 5-hour show, we'll see. They might just want the pool instead. So
that's a lot to take on.
We'll see. So anything else for Mania season you're thinking about?
No. I mean, I'm enjoying the lists and stuff like that on the various shows. I always get into even though I'm not really like a current fan, I'll always watch the Rumble to Mania stretch no matter what. So it's always good to look forward to some current wrestling.
Yeah, we did. I've been watching more of the old Mania 6 and 7 and 8 and 9, some of those.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been really catching up on those, and then some old PTBs I've been listening to about Mania too. So it's kind of as the season and kind of fun listening.
Yeah, that I do that sometimes too, and because I've listened since like the very beginning.
Like,
I was on like the Bigelow 34 Pro Boards days and that kind of stuff. So I'll go back and listen to that, and I'm just like, holy shit, how long ago it feels like.
I know, I think I was around like 6 or 7 WrestleMania when I started listening to podcasts. That's like 2011. It's like, oh my god, that's crazy. Yeah. And hearing about some of the stuff, like, oh, the network's about to launch, and it's so funny stuff like that. So good. So Mania season, love it. A lot of good content here on Backbone and North South and place to be. So whether it's new or like I'm listening to stuff from 2016. Always good as well. Right. We thought we'd do something different here just because it is a seminal moment of the podcast of, we just had SummerSlam 95 and they had 2 weeks off for the U.S. Open as always. And WCW did a very smart thing, I think, and a very screwed thing, which would be lead them to about, 4 years of glory and then be part of their downfall. I don't think Nitro's their downfall, but, this is really going to be their glory days. So they decided to go live with a new show, Monday Nitro. Monday nights is competition against WWF. It was, for about 5 years, must-see TV back and forth the first year or so, not as much, but once that NWO storyline hits, and then after WWF really picked up steam in, 98 and 99, both shows became must-watch, right? And the channel changing and just the amount of – everyone knew what Monday night was. But this is the first one we're going to watch since Raw is unopposed, and then we'll come back next time and watch couple superstars that get caught up, and then we'll do the Raw Nitro the first time just because it's such a big time moment. But anything you want to bring up before we bring up Nitro? I remember watching the show. I remember being like, holy crap, like what's happening? Anything else on WCW or Nitro you kind of want to bring up?
So WCW in general, like this show, Nitro is really like a cultural thing in America for kids like our age. Right, so the entire school. I mean, it might have been different with you, but it was wrestling. Like once Nitro got hot, the NWO and everything.
Yeah,
everybody had NWO, Stone Cold. Everybody knew wrestling. Like all the boys, at least, talked about wrestling. I don't think it's that prevalent nowadays, even though they make more money and probably have more fans. like in the culture itself, WCW is what caused that. Like WWF had its, big moments, celebrities, whatever, but it was just like a movement. And
it wasn't shamed on. Like it became
it was actually cool.
It was very cool. Yes.
If you go back and you see like, I don't know, Randy Savage or Ultimate Warrior on like Arsenio Hall, like they're going along with it, but they're also like making them look stupid at the same time. Like because they're shitting on wrestling in the early '90s, but then once this comes around and they're on Jay Leno and stuff like that, they want them there. They want the rub of wrestling. So yeah, and WCW in general, growing up in Florida, it was more of a Southern thing, like coming up. The old timers would say like NWA, they preferred that. I wasn't more of a WWF fan, but I was kind of in the middle. Like I didn't hate WCW. And then that, like watching this show and the amount of WCW I've watched lately, I think WCW might be my favorite promotion of all time because there's so much variety. Like you have the cruiserweights, you have some of the best tag team wrestling of all time. There's like various B shows and C shows that have like random matchups. Like you'll get Ric Flair versus Liz Mark Jr. or some random shit like that. Like WCW is just so good when it's good, and I think if you look at like the 90s as a whole, WCW is probably better than WWF for a majority of those years. Outside of 97 is probably a tie or close to it, but majority of the years I think I like WCW more. So just looking back on it and kind of seeing the variety and what they had to offer, I was really pumped to watch this show.
Yeah, I wasn't the biggest WCW fan. I kind of joined when Hogan came over. I'm one of those people.
Right.
I found him because wasn't as big down in Chicago as WWF. So it wasn't as big, but it got really big in once Hogan got there. And then NWO, it was like cool because we just started playing more. It felt like it was on WGN a little bit, I think, too, or like definitely
TBS.
more channels. Yeah, it was TBS, but I feel like it made it to WGN too. Like TBS was definitely Pro. I think the weekend shows. Yeah, I think some of the weekend shows, but it really that happened with Hogan because I think maybe before it was probably on, but it was probably like Sunday morning at like 4 a.m. And so I remember watching those shows, and then I remember this being like, all right, this is must watch. And so I remember these shows pretty well. Like again, kind of flipping back and forth between Raw and Nitro. I think they were an hour apart from each other. Like this, I can't remember the exact timeline. And then Nitro goes 2 hours soon enough, but this was like a moment where I was like, okay, I'm going to follow WCW and really, really dig into them more than just like Hogan because it felt like it just felt different.
Right.
So
and just so like everyone knows what's going on in WCW this time, this is peak Dungeon of Doom versus Hulk Hogan era.
Zodiac.
Right. Yeah. It's the not if there ever was a great Dungeon of Doom, but this is not like the workers Dungeon of Doom. Like Faces of Fear aren't in there yet. I mean, Ming's in there, but not Barbarian yet. And like you said, you got Zodiac and Shark and that kind of ilk right now. So that's kind of your main storyline, and then you also have Flair and Arn Anderson for like the first time shooting against each other. So there's not really any Four Horsemen right now either. And then this Nitro is basically the time where New Japan told the guys, like the cruiserweights, that you're going to work for WCW, not ECW anymore. So Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko had their last match in ECW.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so they worked for New Japan, and they were letting them work in ECW, but since Nitro was going to be this big-time show, they wanted them to work for WCW, so that's what caused them to jump. And same with Benoit. He'll be in WCW now, and a couple other people, I think, like Scott Norton is going to come. We'll see him.
He shows in this one,
Yeah, he was a New Japan guy, so they had made sure all their guys. So really, it wasn't like WCW was acquiring this talent. I mean, they were, but it was more like New Japan was making the call that, you can't work for us anymore if you don't work for WCW. So they kind of forced their hand.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't know that. Obviously, it makes sense when you see all the talent show up here that they kind of went all out for that. And obviously Hogan's in the middle of his like undefeated run right now. He isn't being hated yet because I think he's still excited. He kind of had the big time match with Flair. This was a flater, but he's this is beginning the end of where people start turning on him.
It's coming real soon.
It's coming real soon. It gets tiring of the same stuff forever.
Yep.
All right, and then I'm trying to think of. And then Vader's just went AWOL. Yep. So that's another big notice that it's going to happen. So, as I'm sure it's been told many times, Eric Bischoff went to Ted Turner, asked to how could he beat WWF? He said, I need to show him Monday nights. Ted Turner said, sure. They go head to head. Brilliant move by them. This is the off week, like we said. So they're going to go unopposed. Really gets a time audience. I wonder if they had basketball before this or something. Like TNT was always known for having something they would lead in. But whatever they had, like they obviously had the night alone. So it was a big time thing. They're going to go all out. So we're going to mention a bunch of new people showing up. And then they obviously did it differently. Like this is the only show that I know of, the Mall of America, right?
Right.
So they went to a different location. I'm not sure why. I meant to look up why, but gives a different feel. Then we kind of get in the arena for a while, and then we start going. By March we do the spring breaks and other stuff. But for this one, it has a different feel than any other Nitros.
It may have been just real quick. It may have been Bischoff's like ties to Minnesota because he worked in AWA for so long.
Yeah,
I don't know, but yeah, it's cool though. They're like you said, they're known for their setting shows, so I like it.
Yep, and then we also get Mongo McMichael coming in too. So we get the Eric Bischoff going to lead the thing, which is great.
Right.
I think he leads it well, and then he's got Bobby the Brain Heenan, and then a great foil in Mongo McMichael, who they're going to sign. He's going to be in there for the next 4 or 5 years, and so they kind of set up this team. Obviously, it moves once, a couple times around as they add more people, as the NWO grows, but this is kind of the short term is the Eric Bischoff, Mongo, and Pepe, and Bobby the Brain. So why don't you kick it off our first match?
Yeah. So
anything else you want to add?
Well, just that Mongo kind of like lands the first shot, right? Like I wanted to come where the big boys play, kind of because he was at Mania 11, right? So he didn't sign on with WWF. He's over at WCW. They're kind of making sure that they know that he's going to throw a shot at WWF. And if you notice, Heenan never really throws any shots at WWF. It's all kind of Mongo and Bischoff kind of thing. And and you're going to have, like you said, the foil between Mongo and Heenan, and Mongo's going to use the dumb jokes, and he even hits him with the shocker, like the handshake shocker thing that was a thing in that day. So I love Mongo, but he can be kind of corny sometimes, but good to have on commentary at least. And then our first match, which I thought was an excellent choice for a first match to kick this off, was Jushin Liger versus Brian Pillman. So you're showing, speaking of New Japan guys, you're showing a guy that you can import in every now and then, so he's kind of an attraction. And then you have Pillman, who at this time could still fly, so you're doing your high flying match to kind of draw people in, which is smart. Lots of dives and aerial moves, even with Pillman here. I thought it got a little sloppy at points because they were trying pretty hard. And if you've ever seen their Super Brawl match, which is like excellent, it doesn't live up to that match. But I think what they were trying to do is top that, and it just got a little sloppy at points. Like you can tell they were probably kind of nervous or just going overboard. But
who knows what this ring was set up either? Like it was the same crew or.
And the crowd's different, so it's probably just they're the first match out there.
Some jitters.
Right. So there's actually when you think about it, if you're in a war, a Monday Night War, and you're the very first match, like that's a lot of pressure put on those two. So and it's not like they're wrestling each other all the time. Like they had another match 3 years ago. So Pillman ends up with a reversal on the roll up for the win. So I thought it was a pretty solid match. A little sloppy, not their best effort, but a good representation of what WCW is. with the mixture of styles and things like that. So pretty good stuff to start the show off.
Yep. And then we get, let me see if I have any notes on that, because that goes quick. That's one thing about this. I thought Eric brought so much energy here. He just does a great job of saying, this is what Nitro is. It's going to be an hour. It's going to be fast. It's going to be big time matches. What's the thing that's going to happen on Nitro? I think there's some squash matches, but it pretty much gets rid of the squash matches. They'll still do those on, Saturday night and other stuff, but Nitro for most of the point will not be squash matches.
Yep.
Mongo has no Pepe to start, so I was pissed off about that. We'll get that early. Bobby and Mongo do a lot of trading off about the Bears, and he's not that good, and the Bears cut him and stuff like that. A lot of that stuff early on. Pillman doesn't look as good. I thought Pillman was way skinnier. I looked like a fat guts. It's crazy that this is like near the end of this. The crowd is into it. I'm not sure how many real fans they had for this, but this is the type of match the crowd is pumped for. Like they're loving it. It's also great for like the mall crowd, right? Anyone they keep showing people on the escalator, like this is the thing to show on the escalator, which is funny. Like watching the people go up on the escalator, like what the hell is happening here? Same thing. Pillman wins on a roll up. Vince Bischoff's move is tremendous instead of unbelievable. He was tremendous instead. And there was awesome like drop kick from Pillman as Liger was going like off like a moonsault. Like it was pretty cool, but it was a little sloppy. Like everything just had like a little bit of slop to it.
Yep.
But the crowd was so into it. Great start to it. Anything else you want to add before we go to Pasta Mania?
No, we're good there.
All right, so then we get it's part of the reason I think they did it too is because Hogan's opened a restaurant that might have lasted till Halloween. Pasta Mania up in the Mall of America. So they have a terrible segment with him trying to talk about what you can get at this thing.
This is one of the all-time worst segments in wrestling. And he talks. So like one of the items on there is a Hulkaroo.
Hulkaroo, yeah.
How the fuck is that a pasta sounding food? That sounds like a little kid's like Dunkaroos was popular at the time. And this is the bullshit that you're probably right. This might be why they did it. I didn't even think about that. It's because he had the restaurant, but the bullshit story of him turning down or because he didn't get the George Foreman grill because he was going to do this restaurant is such bullshit. Because I don't think, like you said, this might not last another month. I never even heard of one outside of being in this mall. Like if there was another location anywhere. So
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Sense.
So then so we get that, and then we get Sting and Flair out. So pretty cool match. We get this kind of their greatest match. They just kind of do the standard things, Flair off the top rope, Flair doing the Flair flip, Flair flop. Middle of the match, Luger comes out. Bischoff's like, who is this coming here? I think Bobby the Brain spoils it and says it's Luger. But it was cool at first, like, Bischoff saying, like, who is this? And then why is he here? And then, then they kind of like, all right, you're not dumb, like wrestling fans. Like he's been in WCW. Everyone kind of knows him. So did that. And then at the end of the match, man, we just get more stuff. We get Arn Anderson coming out. And so this is, like you said, Arn and Flair starting to fight. I think it's a DQ, but it's something in WCW of like matches kind of ending just out of nowhere for no reason. But, kind of this Luger thing is the big thing. I remember, holy crap. Like I remember watching this. I think I watched the replay of it like that night. Like they showed it twice for some reason. That's why I think there was like a basketball game or something. But I remember watching and be like, oh my God, like this stuff's got real with Luger showing up. It was a fine match, but it was definitely the greatest hits match. Two big stars come out. The Mall of America all knew them, and good enough. You only have an hour show, so you're trying to get a lot of stuff in, and it was a good enough segment.
Right.
Or match.
Well, I mean, the moment is what it's there for, and to have it with Flair versus Sting, like two guys that have history with Luger, was very smart too. So like you really don't know what his plan is. It's also the debut of the Seinfeld puffy shirt. That Luger wears, so he's got this white pirate looking shirt on. But yeah, awesome moment, great timing by WCW to have him jump ship for the debut episode. Like just a great moment, like one of the best moments of the year that we've seen in wrestling so far in '95. Like just like that's what the Monday Night Wars is known for. Not really like matches. Like I mean, there's obviously great matches, but I feel like the moments outweigh the matches during the entire war, and it's something it's ingrained in your memory if you watch this growing up. So very big moment. It'll start over the next 3 or 4 years, I would say it starts dying down once like the Radicals come over.
Yeah.
Like once the Radicals hit, I think it's dead pretty much. But that 4-year span or whatever, it's you never know who's going to show up on the other show. Like unless you were a dirt sheet reader, you kind of were always surprised when someone else debuted. So this is what it's about. Like this is what the war is about. So it's really good stuff. Like you said, Arn adds to it. Like you just never know who's coming out. Like one plot line goes and another one starts again. So good stuff there. Then we get Scott Norton in the middle of this as well. Comes down. This is his re-debut because I think he was there in like 92, 93 for a couple months. He just comes down, says he's looking for a fight, and he's looking all jacked. And I don't know how many fans knew him at this time. He wasn't like a super popular name. He was big in Japan, but he had AWA in the late 80s, early 90s, and a little stint in WCW, but he's looking all jacked, ready for a fight, and Savage comes down and challenge him, so that was cool. Like a lot of fast-paced stuff going on. You don't know what's going to happen next. And then we also get a Sabu vignette, which is awesome that, you got this crazy guy. Like if you're reading the magazines, he's one of the biggest, like, magazine stars of the time. Like you'd always see him with the tables and blood and stuff like that. So to see him come in is pretty cool. And then right after that is also Mr. Wall Street with his vignette. So, IRS is gone in our timeline, but now he's debuting here with WCW, and he even kind of shits on the new gen, like the new generation. Also says the IRS will be watching him. So another shot. Yeah. So I thought it was like good stuff to have, like, Luger and then Arn, and then you got Scott Norton, you got Sabu vignette. Yeah, Savage.
Came out.
So you're seeing, like, if you're Raw is not there and you're tuning into WCW for the very first time, you're seeing all of these stars that used to be in WWF. Like you're seeing the actual stars, Savage, Hogan, Flair, Luger. You got Sting as a star. You got Scott Norton debuting. So like, what's this about? Sabu, Wall Street from WWF. So it's just like a lot of crazy stuff happening back to back to back to really get you kind of like excited for the show. So I thought it was very smart on their part to format it like this.
Yeah, definitely. It was a fun match. Fun segments, I should say. Sorry.
Right.
Fun segments, like all in a row. And the unpredictability. They also announced, this is crazy, Gene comes out and announces the Harley Davidson winner is Mike Hill. I know Mike Hill because he's in Halloween Havoc. I can't believe they announced it here. So like he announces here and then gets his Harley on Halloween Havoc. So I was like, oh, that's crazy. They also talk about Saturday Night Promo and they call him Dirty Dick Slater. I can't believe that was his name. Like, oh man, I'm like, I can't believe this. We're in the 80s. We're in the 80s. Yeah, we're in the 80s, but 95 still. And then Wall Street just looks like $1 Million Man. It's kind of, he looks kind of is little city. So we get the last match, Big Bubba versus Hulk Hogan. Kind of standard match, standard Hogan stuff. Right. Get over the thing. I didn't know Mongo was in the NFL for 25 or 15 years. That's what they mentioned in the match too. It's kind of a fine match. Hogan gets the leg drop, of course. It moves along pretty well. They're obviously short on time. And like we kind of said, they get a lot of stuff in. So then the Dungeon of the Doom comes out, which is so stupid post-match. They look like such losers. You got Kamala and you got Earthquake. I mean, poor Earthquake. Yeah. Just wasted. Zodiac running down like a moron. And then, Luger comes in to help out, clear the ring. And then the rest of the War Games team kind of comes in. So you got Savage and Sting. So cool firepower. The heel side is so weak at this time.
Yep.
I don't know why they made Vader turn, but like the heel side is just so weak at this time. I obviously needed the Giants to come in, but it just took a while for them to get that. So this is pretty fine enough match. I get what they're doing for the crowd, but it's pretty pretty nothing match overall.
Yeah, this is the part of WCW that people didn't like. So you're getting all these like back-to-back great segments and what's going to happen next. You have a high-flying match. You have your traditional WCW match like Ric Flair versus Sting, but then you get this Hogan versus the Monster shit that it's dead. It was dead in what 89 WWF. It was dead. 90 maybe, like after the Warrior feud, it was kind of dead. So it's been dead. It's a tired act, but they needed the star power, so they just went with it. And they quickly found out, like in a month or two is when he does like the whole dirt sheet promo. The fans are booing him. It might even be in Chicago. I don't remember, but he's wearing the black and they quickly find out that this act is dying and they need to do something and pivot from it. But right now it's Hulk Hogan versus the Monsters, and we're gonna get a pretty big monster coming soon in WCW. So that hasn't happened quite yet, but this is their kind of trying to pacify Hogan right now, and Sullivan's just booking all these different heel monsters that it just doesn't mix well with what WCW has to offer at their best.
Yep, agreed. And then obviously they talk about Luger. Luger wants a title shot next week. So that's the big thing to come out of it, is that Luger is going to get a title shots next week versus Hogan, which is a big thing. They're going to have it against WWF. So kind of a cool moment, a big time angle that gets set up there. Anything else you want to add? I mean, no. And the other thing we get is we get Pepe shows up for some reason. Afterwards they talk about next week's show, and Pepe shows up. So it makes me happy. And then Eric Bischoff has this binder that has like all the notes of Raw Nitro. He kind of throws it. He's like, "We're done." I'm like, man, I want that binder. Like what the notes actually said. Like that would have been so awesome. You don't usually see that on screen. So I was like, oh man, that looks awesome. Like there's got to be something. Hopefully someone didn't toss that out.
Right. Just that WCW was such a fun watch. For the most part, it was so different than the WWF. Like you said, without the squash matches and just the way things moved from one segment to another, and it's going to force the WWF to do it too. So, I mean, I feel like, even though it takes a little bit longer, we're going to get better TV here soon. So, yeah, this was really good. This is good for the business. It's what the business is missing now. Like the head-to-head competition. AEW is just not the same. It's on a different night, and they're not really, on the same level. But it's just, I love WCW. I'm glad we covered this show, and I hope it just brings more out of WWF coming up soon.
Yep, agreed. Like I said, we'll cover the next Nitro as well, just because it's so seminal with that first Raw. Second Nitro, first Raw together. And we'll probably throw something else in, probably Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, I think we should cover some, like seminal ones, right? So, probably Halloween Havoc and maybe like the right stuff that's like big time Nitro moment, because it does affect Raw too. So, if there's someone big debuts or something big happens, we can cover it. So
and we did do King of the Road, obviously.
Right, fair enough.
Already, so is an all-time moment. So all right, let's do awards. Most new gen outfit.
Man. I guess I'm gonna go. There's an obvious one. I'm gonna go with Luger with the Puffy Steinfeld shirt.
Probably all right. I went Sting. This is his classic like Florida California style look at this time. Most new gen performer.
I'm gonna go Liger. He was a little less sloppy than Pillman, so I'm Liger.
Yeah, I'll go. I'm gonna go Sting as well there too. Just like it was classic Sting with the moves and stuff like that. Like he was just all about it. Yeah, it's awesome. It was the most like grounded in that before. It wasn't stupid like the Dungeon of Doom. Anything bad or worse match or segments?
I mean, if I got to give something, the Hogan and the Pasta Mania.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Dungeon of Doom. Just coming out there, look like bums.
Oh, they did.
They're so weak as a stable. They're like $1 Million Man. The corporation should have fought Dungeon of Doom for like worst stable. Right. Would have been quite the matchup. Best match or segments.
I'll go Flair Sting because of all that that popped in and out of it as well with Arn and Luger and Scott Norton. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Luger just showing up. I think that's just like such a moment, and leads to what Nitro's about, right? The stars kind of coming out of nowhere,
right,
and showing up. Anyone stock up?
I'll go Luger on this, because he was dead on our show for so long, and then this is his new life for him. So
and I'm gonna go Eric Bischoff. I thought he did great on commentary. I thought he was excellent on commentary. I just thought he was very much so. I think he gets a little next episode. I won't probably be as high on him, but I thought this was done right. So I really liked him. Anyone stock down?
Just Mr. Wall Street, like you said, he looked cheap, looked kind of like a Ted DiBiase ripoff, and he was trying a little too hard to bash WWF. Yeah,
I'll go Hogan. Even though the crowd popped huge for him, the Dungeon of Doom was weak. Luger stuff, he wasn't the best on the mic on the Luger stuff. And then the Pasta Mania thing was ridiculous. So I'll go Hogan, though he isn't at the he's right near the boiling points of being hated, but not there yet. But I think this is starts with so. All right, thanks everyone for listening, rating, and reviewing. We'll be back in 2 weeks for, like I said, some superstars, Raw and Nitro. So thanks everyone for listening, rating, and reviewing. See you in 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.